Hello everybody, my name is Bricky, currently being lobotomized for the glory of the Imperium. Oh no, they botched the surgery.
My mind floating away. Please help. Please.
Welcome, rejects, to Atoma Prime. I am John Warhammer, and there is a possibility that you have stumbled upon Darktide and thought, wow, this game looks fun. But I don't really understand what's going on here. What is this weird variant of zombies? Why does everything look like a cathedral? Why so much organ music? Who is the God Emperor? Nothing has been more fun as of late than playing this game with a group and getting to tell them all about every little aspect of the title. I definitely get annoying when I do. So in order to preserve my friendships, I can instead point to a video right here and not only teach you about your place in the universe of Warhammer 40k, but also how to play Darktide. And luckily, I can do so with the help of Darktide. This video is sponsored by Warhammer Darktide. This is the brand new 4-player co-op experience from Fat Shark, creators of the esteemed Warhammer Vermintide games as well. And it is a delightful day when I, John Warhammer, can be sponsored by Mr. Warhammer themselves. So I will show you all how to be a fantastic servant of the Emperor and fight heresy in his holy name. But first, if you want to play anything you see on the screen right now, you can check out Darktide down there in the description and grab it for yourself. It is Nurgle's got me. It is excellent, because if you haven't played the game, the rest of the stuff here might go a little over your head, unless you're just Mr. Warhammer. And if that's the case, then awesome. You're already more than prepared. But if not, do check it out in the description. It is excellent. It is a lot of fun. Would recommend it. Am sponsored? Yeah. Still fun? Yeah. Let's talk. For starters, let's chat lore.
Oh, god damn it.
Warhammer 40,000 is a sci-fi and fantasy hybrid taking place in the 41st millennium. In this world, hell is real and is a genuine threat to civilization. Humanity was once led by a 10-foot-tall godlike being known as the Emperor of Mankind. And through his strength and genius, led humanity across the stars to conquer a million, yes, a genuine, non-hyperbolic million colonized planets. 10,000 years ago, 9 of his 18 sons led a rebellion that, despite eventually failing, left him a shattered and dying corpse atop a golden throne to be fed 1,000 souls of humans a day in order to survive. In those 10,000 years, humanity's main governing body, the Imperium of Man, have taken him up as a martyr and have slowly degraded into a religious fascist state. To be a part of the Imperium is to know untold violence and war for a better part of your life. The Emperor, the God Emperor, is the only true divine being in the galaxy, and you will serve him and his Imperium until your dying breath, in which you will then be transferred into corpse starch to be fed to other people. In the world of Warhammer, there is no greater gift to mankind than to die in the Emperor's service. If you truly want a good picture of what it's like to live in the Imperium, just read the loading screens. Each of them is pinpoint accurate. Here at this planet, we have Atoma Prime and its major hive city, Tertium. Tertium is a city that holds billions of people and is basically if New York City was multiplied 10 times over and stretched into atmosphere. That is what a hive city is. And hell has gotten loose in Tertium, and one of hell's 4 major gods, the Chaos Gods, has sought to infect it for their own game. This Chaos God is Nurgle, god of pestilence, disease, decay, and death. Nurgle has infected this place from the lowest dredges of the working class all the way up to the spires of the rich and powerful. Now, normally, like any good Imperial citizen would, we would bomb it from orbit. But Tertium has many strategic assets that make it worth taking back. Problem? is we don't have the manpower to do it with our traditional soldiers. And that's where you come in. You are one of 4 separate classes prepared to be executed for some discretion to the Imperium, lack of faith in the Emperor, insubordination, dereliction of duty, or maybe just looking the wrong way at a higher up. These all carry punishment of death. But what greater pleasure is there than to die in the Emperor's service? So out of the holding cell you go, and into Tertium you arise to kill the servants of the Plague God and to redeem yourself in the God Emperor's holy light. First, you must pick your reject. You have 4 total options, with each of them having a variety of playstyles. First and foremost, we have the Veteran, a veteran soldier of the Imperium's main fighting force, the Imperial Guard. Guardsmen are hardened soldiers, strong in faith but stronger in martial prowess. Typical Imperial Guard battles use guardsmen as fodder in order to soak up the enemy's big guns to allow them to be blasted with tanks, artillery, and aircraft. You are a veteran in an army with a 90% mortality rate on their first deployment. Fear the old in a profession where men die young. The veteran will operate as your standard, just kind of range damage specialist. You gain bonuses to headshot damage, have extra ammo, and can utilize your main ability to highlight special enemies and do extra damage against them. Every class has a primary weapon, a melee weapon, and a grenade that is specific to each class. Your grenade, as a veteran, is a grenade, but you see, nobody else has that type of grenade. So in a horde shooter, being able to chuck Mr. Bombastic is a lot more helpful than you realize. You aren't the fastest of the classes and your stamina is a bit low, but Darktide is a 50-50 ranged and melee game that sways depending on the class you play. The veteran is saying, good luck getting me to use my shovel. The Zealot is the horse girl of the 41st millennium, when you take faith in the Emperor and make it your whole personality. Hoes be asking for men over 6 feet, but skipping on the number of heretics set aflame. You don't know when to shut the fuck up about the Emperor, which one would think ever shutting up about the Emperor is a bad thing. But even the most devout Christians don't get on their knees and praise Jesus when McDonald's ice cream machine was working. The Zealot is simply built different.
All will unfold as the beneficent Emperor wills. The Emperor demands you die for the Golden Throne!
The only true God. Don't you look ever shut up.
The Zealot has high stamina, but the same relative health as everyone else. However, you also have a meter called Toughness. Think of Toughness sort of like a shield before you take actual health damage that is regenerated by being near your other teammates, stacking higher per person. You know what else regenerates your Toughness? Glorious melee combat. You know who generates even more toughness in combat? The Zealots. You push towards the melee side of that 50-50 split and decide the best way to deal with a heretic is to run at them screaming at the top of your lungs and introduce their face to your blade or chainsaw or hammer. You have large stun grenades, great for crippling hordes, and overall just excel in melee combat, sometimes even getting benefits for being low on health. Because martyrdom is a blessing. Because what greater gift do we have than to die in the Emperor's service? Health is a social concept to the Zealots. You will run into battle with 1 HP, completely regenerating toughness to make you an unkillable god while simultaneously murdering everything in your path. Now, I mentioned already, hell is real, but one might ask, can you utilize hell for your own gain? Well, the unfortunate Psychers don't get a choice. A Psycher is a special mutation of humanity that allows them to reach into hell, or in this case, hell is known as the warp, to allow for special powers. The problem is that reaching into hell means hell can reach back. And the more you push yourself, the more you reach into the warp, the more problems you're going to have. Also, since you're a mutant, you and the Zealot are just the best of friends.
I see how you all regard me, as if I'm something inhuman. Well, I'm glad to be so.
Blasphemy! If ye renounce your humanity, ye renounce the God Emperor's light!
I will see to the brink.
You do know you're touching me?
Listen, Psycher, I grant you that.
It's called skill, Zealot!
The Psycher is your classic mage-style character. Rather weak in terms of stamina and health, but absolutely loaded in terms of damage. What keeps you in check damage-wise isn't ammunition or stamina, however, it's your peril meter. The perils of the warp come in many ways, and the higher that percentage becomes, the more problematic it'll become for you.
Domain 3
What you get in exchange for this is all manner of psychic powers. The main one is just popping heads of enemies, which does extreme damage, but chain lightning, warp flame, just AoE explosions, you name it. The Psycher has it. Your only downside is your personality.
So many voices in the shadows!
And finally, what if you just don't want to think? Not because you want life to be easy, but because you genuinely don't know how to think. Well, Ogryns may be for you. Ogryns are enormous abhumans that trade any possibility of intelligence for pure muscle. In the lore, the Ogryn you play as has a special chip installed to drastically increase his intelligence. So you're currently playing the smart one.
This is our manufactured routine. This place is ours.
Life as Ogryn is simple. You, big man. Little ones, small, need protecting. You do that, and then you break angry smaller ones upon your car lifting muscles. You specialize in tanking damage and crowd control. You do plenty of damage with your own weapons, both melee and range, but one would say that isn't your focal point. You can use these gigantic shields to tank damage, grenade launchers to deal with hordes, or better yet, just use your girth. Most Ogryns barely even have infant level intelligence. One of the most famous Ogryns of all time was able to count to the number 4 without an intelligence chip. You may be smarter, but don't think too hard. This is why it's canon for ogre names to almost never be more than one syllable. You get powerful titles like Thud, Oof, Grud, Bang, Tug, Thork, Girth, so on. Story time. Someone goes up to the Ogryn, right? Says, all right, big fella, here's your weapons, right? You got your club, you got yourself your big old gun, and here is called a box of grenades. You take these and you throw them at the enemy. The Ogryn thinks, take these, throw them at enemy. Got it. Your grenade is throwing a box of grenades that is not primed, and you do damage with direct impact. Ogryn. Once you have chosen a class, you can then pick a background and customize them. At the moment, there isn't a ton of changes that go into where you come from or your story, but they are neat little lore, including tidbits and stuff. The character creator is next. You can make them look however you like. Again, this is all just cosmetic and for you. The actual face you can change in the in-game doctor whenever you feel like it. The number one most important thing you need to care about is your character's voice lines. This is not changeable after character creation at the moment and is a massive part of the game. Unlike Vermintide that had specific characters, each class has 3 voice lines per body type. If you pick a masculine or feminine body type, you'll get 3 different voice types with 6 different actors depending. Except if you're an Ogryn who has 1 body type. Thick. In Darktide, despite each character being custom with their own appearance and name, the voice lines practically operate as your character's personality. There is also a guardsman voice pack that can only be accessed if your homeworld is Cadia, which also allows you the special purple eye color too, so keep in mind that if you want to use that. The variety in these voice lines is quite high and will really help show the kind of character you're creating. Personally, I judge voice packs entirely on what they say when you activate their special abilities. For example, the veteran have 3, the professional, cutthroat, and loose cannon. Professional is your tried and true strong guardsman. He's a career soldier and generally likable, so his ability voice lines are all pretty standard stuff.
Precision fire! Hit him where it's weak! Engaging critical target!
The cutthroat guardsman was born on Cadia, which, he's not very happy about his home planet being gone, and he shows it.
I'm not ever I'm watching you. Always. Turn your coats and I'll find ya.
Finally, the loose cannon is a fun one, complete with a ton of various mildly comedic voice lines. I personally find the professional my favorite, as it's not bad playing the everyman every so often, but I hear the loose cannon in games sometimes and I think, damn, there's some good voice lines.
Don't get it. Why are you all so puny? Magic, big man. Lots and lots of magic.
This continues with the other characters. The Zealot has various levels of piety. The Psychers are all over the place, including an insane German man or person who thinks the Emperor is their boyfriend and other crazy shenanigans.
You are there, aren't you, beloved? It's ever so hard to hear your voice.
And the Ogryn is the Ogryn.
I can't hear nothing.
Funny Slavic Ogryn, angry mad orc Ogryn, or the physical incarnation of, hey, Xenos, Hate chaos, love my emperor. Simple as.
Not sure how I got here. Don't much care.
When this is all finally done and complete, you may hop into your game, travel around the Morning Star, see all the world, and realize that devotion to the Emperor can even be present through the architecture of starships. When you get to the holomap in the center of the table, you have multiple missions with 5 separate difficulty pips. Don't even think about doing anything above level 2. When I was level 10 out of 30 on my character, I was still mainly only doing level 2s with the occasional 3. So start with 1s. You will want to familiarize yourself with the game as much as you can without too much pain. Each mission will have a rough difficulty time frame of between 15 to 30 minutes depending on difficulty. The main objective is to move from one point to the other and do anything and everything the sassy tech priest tells you to do.
I have complete confidence in you. Was that convincing? I can never tell.
As you move through the mission, you will do a combination of killing enemies, looting for supplies, looking for currencies, and objectives such as holdout points, auspex scans, objective delivery, and more. When it comes to enemies, Nurgle has certainly blessed quite a few of them, and there are a shockingly high volume of enemy types. You have regular chaos cultists and poxwalkers that make up fodder enemies, with armored soldiers being tougher and harder hitting. You also have chaos guardsmen equipped with ranged weaponry that can suppress you and do a staggeringly high amount of damage if left unchecked. But the specials you need to look out for the most. You've got maulers, ragers, volley gunners, shotgunners, tox flamers, mutants, poxbursters, bombers, snipers, trappers, plague hounds, crushers, bulwarks, and reapers for Mass Effect. Yeah. There's a lot to deal with. Honestly, most of these you'll figure out on your own when you see them, and the only specialized way to deal with some are when you get to the higher levels. Don't let the sniper shoot you, don't let maulers hit you, and don't let dogs pin you. It's pretty self-explanatory, and with practice, you'll find a way to deal with all of them. If I have any real true advice to give to new players, it's to stick as a team. Not only is it advantageous from a people who go alone die point of view, but it's also advantageous from a genuine game mechanic point of view. Your toughness regenerates faster when you are with your team, and that affects stats with more players. Staying as a team is smart from a coordination and mechanical point of view. There's even a little bip, blip, pip boy down in the bottom left-hand corner that shows who is in coherency. Not to mention, there are often feats and abilities you get that assist your teammates in coherency, so stick together. Move as a team, play as a team, because if you move alone, you die alone. You'll find things around the map to help you survive, often ammo being the main one. The rule of thumb is that the veteran should have priority ammo-wise, then the Ogryn, Zealot, and finally Psycher. Though the Ogryn and the Zealot can kind of flip-flop depending on whether the Ogryn built for melee or the Zealot brought a flamer. The veteran should get ammo priority, and then you can pick between the two depending on what weapons they brought. So stop stealing my fucking ammo. If you want me to kill that sniper looking to give you a haircut, maybe don't hog the ammo for your fucking machine pistol, Zealot.
Did you just take the fragging ammo again?
It was mine.
Other than random ammo, you will find med packs and ammo crates. These will be dropped when you want them and then can refill both you and your teammates' ammo or health back to full. Health will go until that little purple bar. What is that purple bar? Well, you see, Nurgle might be convincing with that award-winning smile, but some people don't get convinced easily, so they need to be corrupted. This is your corruption meter. The purple will never be healed when you are healed. The only way to get rid of this is to find the healing stations known as medical servitors. In Warhammer 40k, artificial intelligence is considered one of the largest forms of heresy. Have you ever noticed that when you put down a data interrogator, it has a little human skull in it? That's because it is a human skull with a human brain in it, acting as a computer. Gather around, children, gather around. Papa Bricky is going to tell you about how we make servitors in the Imperium. A servitor is generally a criminal that has been lobotomized, dissected, dismembered, and put back together in a robotic form to serve as a slave for the wider Imperium. There is a high chance that if you, reject, were not executed for your crimes, you would have suffered this fate. Sometimes the lobotomies are successful. Sometimes, in rare cases, there is an issue of relapse.
Station. Functional. Can you take me with you? Please. I am so lonely.
So yeah, I'm just gonna walk really far away from that concept, just that man gaining self-awareness again. If I don't think about it, the paint pain won't arrive, you know, smile. But this servitor will fully heal you and all your corruption. However, do watch for the flashing lights below him. This tells you how many charges it has. On hard difficulties, this will have fewer and fewer, so make sure you don't rush to it and use it instantly. Save the charges for the right people. Other than that, you can just look for materials such as plasteel, but that's just if you feel like doing a little bit more exploring. Once you finish the mission and extract, you'll be rewarded with XP and currency. With experience comes feats. These are basically like perks that you get every 5 levels, and you get 3 to choose from and can be swapped out whenever you're not in a mission. But what do you do like outside of a mission? Well, people often forget that the Imperium runs on faith, but not faith alone. They also run on murder. Money. Heading over to the servitor in charge of arms, here you can get more weapons and gear like curios, passive trinkets, or other things that have ratings and rarities that you can enhance or forge with a tech priest at a higher level as well. The higher your level, the more feats you get, the more curio slots you unlock, and the more weapons you have access to. A veteran may just start with the las gun and auto rifle for their ranged weapons, but with time, you might get other variants, styles of las gun, or even bigger, chunkier things like the bolter or the hot plasma gun. And from there, you're off to the races, my friend. With levels comes upgrades. With upgrades comes weapons. With weapons comes contracts. And with contracts comes upgrades again. And so on. Oh, wait. I forgot something. If you ever hear whispering, like a lot of whispering, just standing still and whispering, go ahead and shoot them. It's an enemy of the Imperium, right? It would be wrong of you not to kill it. Do it. Shoot them. Do it. Shoot them. Wake them up now.
Kill them now.
And that, my friends, is how you play Darktide. Despite the tutorial in Psychonim, I think it can be a little bit overwhelming for people who don't have a ton of experience in either this game genre or the Warhammer 41st Millennium world. Final statement, the Psychonim does have something called the meat grinder. If you ever want to test out your character's voice lines, weapon damage, or enemy interactions. I really love Darktide so far. I really appreciate them sponsoring this video. I would pick it up. I know I'm sponsored. I don't care. It's great. I do recommend it. It is in the description. I would give it a look. I will be seeing you again in only a couple more days for another video on this game, so stay tuned. Are you going to the Warhammer Open in Vegas? And if you are, could you sign my Bricky waifu cup? I will be. I will be going to the LVO in Vegas, so if you have your cup, I will be there. Obviously, you have your audible recommendation for books and podcasts, but do you have any music artists or album recommendations? I've actually just been getting really into Rob Zombie lately. So I guess Rob Zombie, but that's not like something underground if that's what you were hoping for. Oh, I do like Poor Man's Poison. Then they're pretty good. Hey, Bricky, what is one thing that was suggested to you by someone that you were sure you were going to dislike, which you instead ended up really enjoying in the end? I maybe didn't really heavily enjoy it, but the Danganronpa games. I hate visual novels, I don't like anime, and I hate like teenagers, especially in anime, and yet Danganronpa was a really solid series. I think I mainly blame that on the villain being incredible, but I was a little bit shocked. It's not my favorite thing at all, but you know, I went from really low to surprisingly enjoyable. All right, that's it, everyone. I will see you in under a week, I think, for another Darktide video. See you then.
Come on. Obviously, you're a skater.